So hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so stoked to talk about Midnights. It is my favorite album.
It's incredible as an album.
I'm so happy that you agree. I honestly didn't know what to think. I've been not able to really predict what you think about albums, as it's been made very apparent that I don't know what you're going to think about these things. So I'm psyched that you enjoyed it.
I did. I will say I enjoyed the second half of the album proper the most.
Tell the people what you mean by the album proper.
Yeah, what do I mean by the album proper? Dear listener, here's what's going on.
Dear reader.
Apparently in 2022, Taylor Swift released this album called Midnights.
Yes.
At midnight on the day that she released it.
Yes.
New
York time.
New York time. And it had 13 tracks because 13 is her favorite number. And then 3 hours later, while the fans were still reeling.
I was indeed reeling.
She dropped bonus tracks.
The 3 a.m. edition.
The 3 a.m. edition. That's 7 bonus tracks? 8?
It goes 13 to Dear Reader. So yeah, 7 or 8. Wait.
7.
I can count.
Me too. We make a great team.
We sure do. We're sharing the brain salt today.
Listeners, it's been a day. 7 bonus tracks on the 3 a.m. edition, which are brilliant. I think
all of them.
Yeah. I think I described it as feeling like the main album, the first 13, felt like the vanilla ice cream.
Like the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Like what? It's a solid thing.
It's a solid Taylor Swift offering. And then the bonus tracks are like all the toppings on the sundae, and it's like, oh, this is what you were really here for. Oh my goodness.
This is why you came to the event. Thank you so much this evening. Yeah. And then 3 hours after that,
the fans are still reeling.
I'm literally up so late. I mean, I'm on Pacific Standard Time at this point, so it's only 3 a.m. for me. It's 6 a.m. by the time this drops.
The Hits Different track?
Yeah, there's a couple. So the Till Dawn edition dropped Hits Different, and then a couple like remixes, re-record. I'm like, I could take or leave those, but then
whatever, the songs already existed.
Yeah, they already existed at that point. And then on the physical albums, which obviously were not dropped on Spotify, they have You're Losing Me,
which is a gut punch of a song.
It sure is.
Yeah. So there are these tiers to this album. So where do you want to start? Do you want to start at the very beginning?
You know what? If we're going to make a sundae, start with the ice cream.
Start with the ice cream.
Yes. Okay. So track 1, we have Lavender Haze. I personally like the acoustic version better. It's just more my jam.
Yeah, I think I agreed with you on that.
Yeah, I like the instrumentation on it. Overall, I don't have too many like specific lines out of Lavender Haze that I pull out and I'm like, ooh, really loved it. But I think it's a solid start to the album. She's talking about like the lavender. Oh, we should also talk about
why it's called Midnight.
Why it's called Midnight.
Yeah, I was going to say this song like confused me at first because of the line, I've been under scrutiny, you handle it beautifully, all this shit is new to me. I'm like, how many albums has she released by this point? How much has she dealt with the press by this point? This is not new to her. Well, the fact is it's not. But she's writing this song as a reflection on different things that keep her up at midnight.
Yeah. Essentially, it's like she's reflecting on 13 nights throughout her life that she was awake and pondering things. So it's not new to her. I would say Lavender Haze. I tend to think that this is in her like Connor Kennedy phase, which was super brief.
I don't even remember that name, to be honest.
I believe he was between Harry Style for the first time in spring and Harry Style the second time.
Harry Styles B.
Yeah. Harry Styles' B track was Connor Kennedy, which I think is why they had the line, the 1950s shit they want from me, and her like rejecting that idea of marriage. Not that she's rejecting marriage in its entirety, but like the Kennedy family has a very like a standard.
Oh, he's like a legit Kennedy.
He's like a Kennedy.
Oh, got you.
Oh yeah, sorry. I didn't know. I forgot that you don't know like this at all. No. Yeah, he's a legit Kennedy. So there's lines in there where it's like, well, they expect me to either basically be a one-night stand or his wife. But there's no this in between like figuring it out stuff because I believe it's talking about bad for the Kennedy image, but I could be wrong. But it's opening the whole album with like, this is about love, sort of, sometimes, throughout my life, and it's
there's a lot of almosts on this album.
Yeah, the different flavors of almost, which makes sense because are the what ifs not what keep us up at night?
Indeed.
Yeah, but then it deep dives right into Maroon.
Oh, Maroon,
which is one of my favorite tracks on the album. Definitely one of my favorite tracks on the first 13. The chorus just. There's this part in the chorus where she's just listing off different types of maroon and how she's applying that. And it's kind of breathless and it's so good.
Yeah. I think what struck me about this song is that it's a really good example of what she's doing in several places on this album, which is reflecting on stories that she's already told and managing to tell them in a new way, drawing on her previous writings, but not trapped by them. And I think that's so difficult to do as an artist. And I really admire how she's pulled it off. Because once you've told yourself a story, trying to tell yourself the same story again, you tend to say the same thing again. And she doesn't altogether.
No. And I think she does that so well with specifically Maroon because she's tying in her own color theming where she's obviously red. And then Maroon is I would think a deeper, more mature version of red. So I do believe that she's talking about Harry Styles and or the other boys listed on red. Just from the chorus, she's talking about someone she was dancing with in New York. It's so good. The burgundy on my t-shirt when you splash your wine into me, how the blood rushed into my cheeks so scarlet it was maroon. It's just
see, that line does bother me a little bit because scarlet is a bright red and maroon is a dark red. It's it's something that is more scarlet than scarlet is not therefore maroon.
I knew you were going to get so stuck on something like that.
Yeah, that's the sort of stupid thing that I noticed.
But in the verse 2, there's a great line that I really like where she's saying, "You were standing hollow-eyed in the hallway. Carnations you had thought were roses. That's us." Powerful. Again with a botanical theme. And if you look at, the meanings of those flowers, a carnation is a fascination and love, they're paired together. So that's sort of
infatuation,
an infatuation love. And then roses, obviously a red rose is symbol true love. So this guy thought it was true love, but it was really a carnation. It was just an infatuation.
Fascination. Sorry, I got the song wrong. That was a Nat King Cole song. Butchered it. Yeah.
But she's looking back at this time in her life where she was red is true love, that passionate, crazy love. And now she's older and she's no, that was actually just infatuation. Insane. So crazy. But there's more. There's so much to get through. What do you want to talk about?
Anti-hero? Just because this is the one you hear on the radio.
True. It's me. Hi.
I'm the problem.
It's me.
I enjoy the poetry of this one. Sort of the nocturnal. If you've gone through a nocturnal phase in your life, you kind of feel like a monster. I'm wondering, it feels like it's written to her fans in a special way.
I think so.
Yeah, because she's through the rest of most of the song, she's describing herself in this sort of, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. You made a face and I don't know what it means.
Sort of a grotesque way. I don't mean in a disgusting way, but in a way that is Baroque. It's sort of off from normal, off from just right.
Yeah. Because again, she's thinking about her life after 10 p.m., which no one should ever do. Right. You shouldn't be making big decisions about your life past 10 p.m. and before you wake up. But she's doing that.
Right. And the last line of the chorus, it must be exhausting always rooting for the anti-hero.
Yeah.
It's well, who is the anti-hero and who's doing the rooting? And the only way I can make it make sense is that
she's talking about herself.
Yeah.
She's saying, I'm the anti-hero.
Right.
You're rooting for me. That must be tiring.
Yeah. Which I love the way that she deals with her fans in this album. It's humble. It's endearing.
Absolutely. I like the line, when my depression works the graveyard shift. I mean, I don't like that she went through that, but we've all, I
think we know what she means.
We know what she means, man. That's rough. So yeah, another great song. I don't mind skipping Snow on the Beach. I know some people really enjoy that song, but it doesn't really stand out for me musically or lyrically.
There are some lines that I think are really interesting, but not that are tying into other things that we're talking about.
Yeah. So. But You're on Your Own, Kid, track 5. Big and important for that reason. So when you're looking into the lyrics here, she's kind of talking about her whole life. Like she's going back and reflecting on her whole life from beginning to end. I think it's a little sad that she's coming up with the conclusion that she's been on her own the whole time. But nice to know that she's like, I've been on my own my whole life, so I guess I can keep going. I'm like, do keep going.
Please do.
Please do. But I think it's interesting how she is using a lot of film references. Even in the title, You're on Your Own, Kid. It's very Casablanca.
Yeah. Here's looking at you, kid.
Here's looking at you, kid. So Long, Daisy May.
What is that a reference to?
So it may be a reference to The Great Gatsby, or it may be a reference to an actress, Daisy May Cooper. Who's to say? But there's still the film theme there, no matter what. One of her lines includes The Great Escape. And then she's just reflecting on that. Like she's talking about how she's in this sphere with many other artists. Her dreams aren't rare, she says, but she's been on her own this whole time. So it's kind of a rough track 5.
Yeah.
In that regard. There's not a lot of like hope for someone to catch you when you're down.
Yeah. She does say that she finds something that they can't take away.
There is that, yeah.
And I'm kind of intrigued by that line. I would like more information, please.
Yeah. Where is that? Oh, I looked around in a blood-soaked gown and I saw something they can't take away. Because there were pages turned with the bridges burned. Everything you lose is a step you take. So make the friendship bracelets, take the moment and taste it. You've got no reason to be afraid. That is specifically speaking to the fans because
Swifties make friendship bracelets.
We do. And I have made them and I brought them to the Eras tour and I did trade them with people. And it's so fun. So I'm wondering if she's talking about this experience, this shared experience that she's created with her fans of like, that's something that no one can take away from her, no matter what's happened, whatever she's lost. We're still making friendship bracelets. So that is pretty special and cute. But yeah. Next up,
did you want to talk about Midnight Rain?
I love Midnight Rain musically. When you first pop in, I think it's Taylor's voice, but it's just been altered somehow, like very synthy. But I like it musically, and then I do think it's talking about Taylor Lautner. Possibly, it might be. I like to believe so, but yeah, it's just talking about a boy that she dated in the past that like they just wanted different things. There's no real malice in it, and she's saying, I guess we all get what we wanted. Like, you got married, I chased my dreams, here we are, and we don't think about each other except on nights like this, which is also relatable.
Yeah.
Give it a listen. I like it musically.
Yeah, it feels Christmassy to me. I will say the vocal effects didn't work for me. I don't love them.
Not surprised. Yeah. Just based on your comments from the past. You don't really like a vocalization too much.
Yeah.
You don't like anything that
if
can't really be
too much, I'm
down.
like, please stop.
Yeah. If there's too many oohs and ahs, Emily's not into it.
It's for real. Because like I like to be able to imagine that I'm in like a campfire situation or, you know, I don't know. I just like improvised music, and synth and effects are not that. Nothing wrong with them.
I love the 80s music.
I
think that
it's an inconsistency.
Yeah.
And that's why you love me.
And I do. Question in passing, unless you want to talk about it deeply.
No, in passing is
fine.
In
passing, there are definite portions of music that are taken from 1989, which I think pretty much unequivocally ties it to Harry Styles. The I remember at the beginning is right off 1989. There's some of the ahs in the background of the song later, which is straight from Out of the Woods.
Isn't I Remember also Out of the Woods?
I believe so. Yeah. I think it's all from that song, all those what is it called when samplings?
Yeah.
Yes. And then just the line, you painted all my nights a color I have searched for since.
Yeah.
Which is red.
Harry Styles.
Red. Yeah. Cool. It's about him. Moving on. You love the next song.
I love the next song, which is Vigilante Shit. I think it has some of her most unique vocal styling. It kind of has a chill blues influence. The simplicity of the instrumentation ties into what I was just saying about how I love simplicity in instrumentation.
Yeah.
It's quite haunting. The melody is very interesting. I just really love her vocal work on that. The aesthetic makes me think of Lackadaisy, the webcomic. Have you ever read that? You would love it. It's cats in New Orleans in the 1920s Prohibition.
Yeah.
It's just fabulous.
Draw the cat eyes sharp enough to kill a man. First line.
Right. So that's a lovely song. kind of dark. It's the no body, no crime of this album.
It's given film noir.
Yeah,
a
film
little
noir
bit.
vibes. Yeah. And then, so like everything from this vigilante shit, that's track 8, everything on, I'm just like, oh, this is great. Except for maybe Labyrinth. I don't really remember Labyrinth. My notes say that it had vocal effects.
So you didn't like it?
I didn't like it as much as the rest of the songs around it.
I like Labyrinth. Okay, first of all, I screamed like a feral witch when Bejeweled came on.
As opposed to a domesticated witch.
Yeah. At the Eras tour, when it came on, I was like dying. I've collapsed.
It's like the coin flip of Tolerate It, right? Where like she's in this situation and she's like, well, I'm going to go shine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. She's like, best believe I'm still bejeweled. I can still make the whole place shimmer, which is I'm not going to say it.
What?
It's my tone. It's my...
Your aesthetic?
My aesthetic. Thank you. I'm not going to say the banned word.
That's good because I just said it 3 minutes ago and it's too soon.
Anyway, I love Bejeweled, if only for the feelings that come from it. But Labyrinth is right after. I really like Labyrinth because, again, it's bringing in some Greek mythology. She's in a labyrinth, which, you know, the Minotaur, labyrinth, all that jazz. Scary. Ooh. The song is about her, like, thinking that this relationship is going to be over, and then, oh no, she's falling in love again, and they're bringing it back from the edge, which was the first clue for me that she was done with Joe Alwyn on this album. Like, I think they broke up. This might be the breakup album, babes. It is. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about Labyrinth.
Cool.
Yeah.
After that is Karma. I love the line, I keep my side of the street clean. You wouldn't know what I mean.
There are so many good lines in Karma. It's a bop. She ends her Eras tour with it. And they've all got these like really fluffy, bright colored jackets on them. They look like Muppets kind of, but they're sparkly, and they're all just doing their little soft dance because they've been performing for 4 hours. And they're all doing this very light dance, but they're just happy, and there's confetti, and it's great. My only note there is bop, but
yeah, that's appropriate.
Yeah, has good lines like Karma is like a cat purring in my lap because it loves me. She's basically saying, I try to be a good person. Yeah, you wouldn't know what that's like.
It's cute. It's real cute.
Yeah.
The song after that is even cuter and like in the most domestic and adorable way. Sweet nothing, fun little melodic rhythms. You're in the kitchen humming. Love it. It's kind of got a soul feel to it with this sort of gentle brass and the organ. It's, again, the instrumental simplicity. It gets me.
Yeah. And I think it is kind of reminiscing back to COVID times. Outside, everyone's pushing, shoving, but you're in the kitchen humming. I find myself running home to your Sweet Nothings, or your Sweet Nothing, which is a play on whispering sweet nothings to your lover, obviously. But yeah, it's just... what a sweet picture of domestic life and what I now believe actual love and true romantic love to be about. I kind of grew up with Taylor Swift. So yeah, I followed her when she believed that love was like red and like fiery passion. And now I'm like, yeah, no, love is the person you want to cook dinner with, you know?
I love the line, there's a verse of that song where she says, I wrote a poem on the way home, because of course she did. She's Taylor Swift. She's writing poems all the time. And she comes home and the guy says, what a mind. And she's like, and that sort of thing happens all the time.
Yes.
Where he just...
what a mind.
Just appreciates her for doing what she does because he loves her for who she is. It's very sweet.
I love when a man compliments something that is not your body. I mean, being told
body's nice too.
Body's nice too. Being told you're pretty is nice. But it's also really nice when they're like, wow, you are so smart. Yeah. I'm like, ooh, thank you. Yeah. And then, okay, to wrap up the
album
proper, we get Mastermind, which has
a nice synth. I will put in a word for the synth here.
I live and die for Mastermind. I think it's such a great song. It opens up with the verse, just killer poetry right out the gate. Once upon a time, the planets and the fates and all the stars aligned. You and I ended up in the same room at the same time. And I'm like, once upon a time, she's tying in all of her story theming that she did early in her career. The planets and the fates, I feel like she started really getting into like that kind of imagery later in her career, especially on folklore. And she's like, throughout all of this, my whole life from beginning to end, it all aligned for this moment for us right here. Yeah. And then it's got just tight metaphors and tight lines all throughout the song, which you know that I love.
Yeah. It's really, really sweet. The one line that I think adds information that we didn't have before is where she says, "You knew the entire time." Like she set up the situation where she's this Machiavellian schemer.
Right.
And she's lined up all the dominoes and, arranged the chessboard just the way it needs to be.
Checkmate, I couldn't lose. Yeah.
Right. And, just as a thought experiment, let's gender bend this. Let's say a man wrote this. You know what we would say? Creepy.
Creeper.
Right.
Yeah.
Scheming, not just scheming. That's creepy material, right?
Yeah. You've set this up so you could trap her. That's crazy.
We don't really like that.
Yeah.
But she adds this line in, "You knew the entire time," which even if a man was singing it, would totally be like, so she was in on it.
Yeah, she was complicit in all of this stuff.
And she even got him to think that he was winning without her knowledge.
And it's right at the end, right in the last chorus, nothing was going to stop me. I laid the groundwork and then saw a wide smirk on your face. You knew the entire time. You knew that I'm a mastermind. Yeah. Which is not only yes, he was complicit in this and was but also that he was kind of watching her mind work and was appreciating that the whole time that this was going on.
Yeah. It makes it feel like they're equals.
Exactly.
They're on the same level.
Yes. She's playing a game and he can see the game that she's playing and appreciates it for what it is. Also, during the Eras tour, I love all of the staging that was done. The actual stage had screens on it so they could set it up looking like a chessboard. All the dancers are falling down like dominoes. She'll point to them and they'll move forward as pawns on a chessboard. It was very, very well done just for the whole aesthetic of the song. So lives in my heart forever.
All right, would you believe me if I told you we have less than 7 minutes left?
No, stop it. Okay, so we have to go. We have to move on very quickly to the rest.
Move. Keep your head down.
I think we should talk about the Great War.
Yeah.
I think this is the biggest clue that this is a breakup album, is because she's comparing this situation that she's lined up in the song about a partner where she accuses him of cheating and he says that he didn't, and she's lining that up with images about the Great War. There's even battle drums in the last chorus that sound very
martial.
That's a good word for it.
Yeah, she alludes to the poppy, of course.
And morning glories, which are symbolic for death in war.
The poppy is the traditional memorial for World War I in England.
That's it. That's the one. In England specifically.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Possibly more parts of Europe as well. We don't really do that in America for some reason, but there's a felt poppy that people wear on their version of Memorial Day.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of allusions to that she had been cheated on in the past. And so she was kind of holding these things against him and thinking
little gun shy. Yeah. Just verse 2. Let's see. You said I have to trust more freely, but Diesel's desire, you were playing with fire. And maybe it's the past that's talking, screaming from the crypt, telling me to punish you for things you never did. So I justified it. And wow. Yeah.
That's powerful. There's a lot in there. She's explaining the situation, but also saying, yeah, that's kind of my fault. I punished you for things that you didn't do. There's a part where she says, you looked at me with broken and blue with honor and truth. So I called off the troops ugh. And that's the night I nearly lost you. So I think that this just gives a real window into their relationship, especially coupled with Labyrinth, where there's probably a lot of mistrust and, is it off? Are we done? No, we're coming back from this. And then ultimately we know that it ended, but rough. Yeah.
Even rougher
is the
track
song.
15, bigger than the whole sky.
It. Yeah.
We had to argue that Hoax was about a miscarriage. This one requires no argument. You've got, even in the music, there's kind of this heartbeat rhythm going on that sounds just like the Doppler when you go and hear the heartbeat of an unborn baby.
Yeah. There's something so deeply sad about the song musically, and it's so slow and mellow that Again, we've talked about how certain types of loss are just, they hit so much deeper. And I think that the music really speaks to a very, very deep loss in a way that, I mean, the lyrics also get at. But I've got a lot to, you are more than just a short time. I've got a lot to pine about. I've got to live without. I'm never going to meet what could have been, what would have been, what should have been you. The whole vibe of the song is pretty hopeless.
Yeah, because there's no answering the question of why. You know, what does she mention? Like a butterfly flapping its wings or a bird?
She's alluding to the butterfly effect.
Oh, yeah.
But she says, did some bird flap its wings over in Asia?
Yeah. What caused this? Was it my fault? Was it just some fluke?
Yeah. Did some force take you because I didn't pray? And I am sad for her that is her belief about God.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we know she grew up in a Christian household. To this day, I think she says that she's a Christian, but to say that...
It's a very magical view of prayer and of God. That it's you say the right things, you get the things you want.
Yeah. Which is painting a picture of a pretty vengeful God, which is hard. That's more sad to me than the whole song put together.
Yeah.
Even though losing a child is obviously horrible. So that's a rough one.
That's a rough one.
Take some tissues with that one, you guys. Let's see. We're running out of time, but there's so much here.
Paris is lovely because she talks about not reading the news, which is my life.
Me too. I get my news from other people. If it's important enough, I'll find out eventually.
Right.
Yeah. High Infidelity, I feel like, is kind of Ivy explained off of Evermore.
Yeah. I didn't know you were keeping count. That line.
Yes.
Where it's like, this is where 1 Corinthians 13, it's the flip side. Yeah. Love keeps no record of wrongs. Right. And then she finds out that her partner has been keeping count.
And especially when you take in the line from Reputation, baby, who's counting? And then she does the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no. I'm hoping that this song feels like a little imaginative, kind of like she's telling someone else's story, but also putting in her own experiences, which is why it feels that way to me about it being like Ivy explained. But your picket fence is sharp as knives. Your vision for what this should have been, this ideal picture of the picket fence and all the houses, is what's killing us instead of what our relationship actually is. Okay.
18 Glitch.
Tell me what you think about it. It doesn't stand out to me particularly, actually.
I don't remember what it sounds like. I only have 2 notes. One is dreamy. So apparently I liked the music.
Oh, it sounds like a fever dream. That's what I have written down. And there's also a lot of references and allusions to like drugs.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's talking about her relationship with Joe Alwyn, where I feel like maybe she was, I don't know, under the influence of alcohol or something when they met. I think they met in a bar. Unclear. But anyway, thinking that this should have been just kind of like just some small thing. Remember in Paper Ring, she's saying, I hate accidents. Except
yeah, when we went from friends to this, that's my other note, is that it reminded me of that line.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's like, I think she's talking about how like she wouldn't have normally thought that this would turn into something as life-changing as it did. And then there was a glitch, and 6 years later, they were still together at the time. Yeah. So yeah, interesting.
Would've, could've, should've. This, oh my goodness, this one hits hard.
It's unabashedly my favorite song that she's ever written. I feel like it's so full of powerful imagery, powerful religious imagery. It speaks to my experience personally, and I think a lot of people's experience with growing up with religion, and the things that tend to pull you away from belief and faith, and how you miss the person that you used to be before you were disillusioned. Well, or to some extent disillusioned, really falling away from your core values. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's very poignant. She describes so intimately the scars that sin leaves on you, without using those words necessarily, of course. But the regret, now that I know, I wish you'd left me wondering.
Oh yeah.
There are things that I know that I wish I didn't know, you know?
And you can't unknow.
You can't unknow.
They just are here. And the bridge deserves to be read. Do you want to read it?
No, I want you to read it because I don't have it pulled up.
Okay. The bridge goes, God rest my soul. I missed who I used to be. The tomb won't close. Stained glass windows in my mind. I regret you all the time. I can't let this go. I fight with you in my sleep. The wound won't close. I keep waiting for a sign. I regret you all the time. And I have chills. Yeah, it's worth a listen. I feel like it's such a I listen to it privately more than I listen to it with other people.
It's a very personal song.
Yeah. I could go on and on, but usually it's just about my own experience and not necessarily about the music on this one.
Well, we're already over time, so we have 3 more tracks to talk about. This is the only album that we've really done this like a walk track by track through.
Well, it deserves
it.
Like every song is so good and just does what it set out to do and is good poetry. That's why it's my favorite. But you take Dear Reader. I think you love it more than I do.
I do like it. It feels like a little bit of a recovery in a way from Would've, Could've, Should've. Yeah. Where she's looking at herself and talking to her fans, and there's a tone of gratitude that says thanks for listening and sticking with me. Are you sure it's a good idea?
Yeah.
She's like, if I'm your guiding light, maybe you should think about finding a different one. Yeah. And it's
never take advice from someone who's falling apart. Yeah. That's good advice from someone who's falling apart.
When you aim at the devil, make sure you don't miss. Oh, it's a great line.
Yes.
She does have the vocal effects warning. If I don't know why I keep pointing it out, like I don't think anybody's going to listen to this podcast and think I'm not going to listen to this track because Emily said it had weird vocal effects.
They might go, ooh, I like vocal effects.
Yeah. Well, go listen to this song. It's great. And then Hits Different, the final Till Dawn bonus track.
Yes.
For some reason, it's in the same drawer in my brain as
which doesn't make sense to me, but I still like the song.
Yeah, it's a bop. It's very summery. It feels like a summer song. It's in the fantasy playlist of like I've got the Jeep, we've got the guitar in the back seat, get in the car, we've got our sunglasses, we're going to the lake. It's that kind of a song. I musically enjoy it very much. The lyrical dissonance is so like 90s, 2000s alternative. I enjoy it so much.
Yeah, because you were saying like the music is happy. The lyrics are not.
The lyrics are, I'm insane. I miss you so much. And I thought I would be able to get over stuff. And here I am. Yeah,
like people are putting me in a car after I've been like throwing up on the street because they played a song that we wrote together. I don't know if we mentioned on Folklore, but Jo Alwyn and her wrote songs together. So when they play songs that are theirs, she's like, I can't deal with this. I'm insane. And her friends are telling you like, oh, love is a lie just to get her by. Catastrophic blues. Her own color theming just coming in, but more.
Maybe should I explain what I mean by lyrical dissonance?
Yes, sorry.
Where the music is happy and thrilling and summery, but the lyrics, maybe that was already clear.
I don't know, but I love restating a fact.
Yeah, the lyrics and the music do not match. There is dissonance there.
Man, there's a lot of good lines in here too. My sadness is contagious. So she stops receiving invitations because she's just so...
It's not fun to be around.
Yeah, not a fun... I mean, unfair. Like you just lost, at the time, the love of her life or I don't know, maybe just a very significant relationship. And she's saying, yeah, it hits different because it's you. People expect me to bounce back really quickly. There's lines that allude to that. And then she's in the third verse talking about like, I thought I heard your key in the door. Yeah. Is it you or are they coming to take me away because I'm insane?
But it's such a fun track.
But like I listen to it all the time. It's such a bop. Then the flip side is not a bop. It's a great song. It's You're Losing Me. And it wasn't released on Spotify when everything was released. It was released only on physical copies of the album. And then in 2023, it was finally added to Spotify. But she did a powerful business woman move where she's like, you want my most raw song I've ever written in my life? Go buy a physical copy of my album.
Which I appreciate. I'm a vinyl girl.
Absolutely. You want to talk about it?
I don't have a lot of notes on it. My note says that it sounds like a Taylor Swift song, which is not doing it justice by any means. No. It was incredibly poignant and saddening, but I only listened to it the once.
First of all, it has her own heartbeat recorded on the track, which she's done previously, but it's used here because sometimes the heartbeat is there, sometimes it's not, because she talks about how her heart can't beat for him anymore. He's losing her. But yeah, first line opens up, you say, I don't understand, and I say, I know you don't. And
impossibility of communication.
Therein lies the issue with every relationship that falls apart. And I don't know, I just think this song is so sad because it's this fundamental, misunderstanding of your partner. She's like, how can you say that you love someone you don't know is dying? You know, my face was gray, but you wouldn't admit that we were sick. And then she's talking about pondering, like, do we throw everything away or keep it? They've been together for 6 years. And that's a real thing. Like, do you just keep going, trudging through, or do you start over? And she's just saying, stop, you're losing me. Stop, you're losing me, over and over again. So very, very sad.
And we're way over time, so we gotta stop there,
Man.
which is a bummer.
There's
because like this has really song. Just been a flyover.
Oh, there's so much more, and that's it. This doesn't do it justice, but give the album a listen. Yeah, this is the last album.
Yeah, until April.
Until April. I'm forgetting the day, which is not very Swiftie of me. Yeah, she's releasing a new album in April, which kind of lines up perfectly with our releasing schedule. We have 2 more episodes where we're going to do some deeper looks into Taylor's version songs from the vault, songs that she has been featured on, more lyrical analysis. We'll get that in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then the new album when she drops it, and then that's
What's it called? The Tortured Poets Department?
Yes.
Cool.
I'm so impressed with you.
I, for some reason, started seeing Taylor Swift stuff like on the internet. You know how it knows what you've...
Yeah, your phone is listening to you.
Well, my phone isn't.
No, but every other electronic in your life is listening to you and communicating with your laptop. So
yeah, so it tells me about Taylor Swift stuff now.
Like, aren't you interested? You've been listening to her whole discography for weeks and weeks and weeks. Yeah. But we have a lot of people to thank.
We sure do. First of all, Joseph, our editor.
The magician in chief.
Rebecca, our media manager. Talitha, our design lead. DieCast Media Group.
For producing. And thank you for listening.
So much.
Yeah. And thanks, Emily, thank you for listening to 10 albums.
You know, I'm not sure I would have done it for anybody else.
Okay. But first of all, you need to rate this album out of 10.
8.
Ladies and gentlemen, this lady right here has told me in the past that she doesn't give anything an A, which would be 9 out of 10 would be an A minus. And maybe it's the teacher in you.
It might be.
But I now think of 8 as 8 out of 8. So you've lost the fight, because I'm considering that the highest marks that you can give. And so
okay, so then what did I give an 8.25 to?
8.25 is actually the peak.
Was that folklore?
It was.
Okay, so that's like an A++, right?
Yeah. On the new scale of 8, it is an A++.
There you go.
Would you consider yourself to be a Swiftie?
What does that mean?
You can ponder this more. I will ask you again on the last episode.
All right.
It's being a fan, but like a really big fan, and it's self-titled. So anyway.
Okay. All right. We'll
Thanks
figure that out.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.
Bye.